In today's video, what we're going to be doing is, could sauropods survive on Skull Island? I know what you're going to say. What about the other brontosauri on Skull Island? Brontosaurus baxteri, Esperodorsus, and Diablosaurus. The only three of them. But what about Rebeccasaurids, Titanosaurids, and Brachiosaurs? So, let's get started. Alamosaurus. And for its diet, they would feed on plants from treetops. They don't chew their food, they gulp. They swallow stones to help them digest plant matter. So, I could see them surviving on Skull Island, because Alamosaurus is very large, and no predator would dare to prey on them, unless if it's a weak individual. Old and the sick and even youngsters are vulnerable to predators. And for its environment, Allosaurus only lived in semi-arid inland plains. These plains were similar to today's savannas, with open landscapes, and in intermittent water source, like lakes and swamps. Yeah, Allosaurus would struggle to adapt to this change in environment. With some adjustments, they could survive. Amargasaurus. Diet: leaves and plants. They will have to eat large amount of plant material each day to sustain itself. It swallowed leaves whole without chewing them, and it may had gastrolids in its stomach to help digest tough plant material. And for its environment, they would live in woodlands and creeks, floodplains. So, they could survive, but they have the watch of predators like V-Rexes and Carnothosaurids and Abelisaurs as well on that island. Brachiosaurus. Its diet: they are high browsers. They eat ginkgo trees, coniferous trees like pines or YEWS, that have needles and cones, and cycads. And for its environment and habitat, they lived in lush jungle-like habitats. Sorry, wrong one. They lived in semi-arid with distant wet and dry seasons and flat floodplains. So, since Scotland doesn't have any semi-arid or anything, they could survive. But they have to watch out for predators on that island. Well, they could defend themselves. They would trample or even use their hind limbs to kick and intimidation to scare off predators. Brontomaris. Its diet. Unfortunately, there's not much information about it because, due to its fragmentary fossils and its environment, they would live in hilly terrain. But they have a weapon, and this one has the powerful thighs which were anchored. Studies by a sturdy bone plate that projected from its hip bone may have helped it move through rough terrain, similar to a dinosaur four-wheeled drive. And it may have also used its powerful legs as a weapon to kick predators to death. Unlike sauropods that they trampled and stomped on them, this one use its legs to kick. And for its environment, they lived in subhumid and with seasonal precipitation and wetlands. Nematosaurus. Now, its diet. They would eat ferns and conifers. It is unclear whether they browsed high in the trees or grazed on low-growing plants. And for its environment, Nematosaurus lived on lush river delta flowing through ancient sands of the Gobi Desert. Since they only lived in the desert-like environment, but there are some animals that do live in floodplains and forested areas. So it could survive, but would struggle to adapt. Nigersaurus. Its diet. They would feed on soft plants like ferns, horsetails, and angiosperms. And for its environment, they likely lived in inland floodplains. So, yeah, they would survive, but they have to watch out predators. Unfortunately, this one would go extinct. Paralotitan. And its diet of leaves and root system, a mangrove vegetation of fern seeds. And its environment. They who lived in mangrove ecosystem along the southern shore. Rebeccasaurus. Diet. They will feed on ferns, cycads, conifers, and other prehistoric plants. And for its environment, and for its environment, I could not find any information about it, but there are some that lived in delta rivers and brackish environments. Coastal lagoon. Sauropods. And for its diet, they ate on top of the trees, especially mainly on conifers and palms. And for its environment, vast river delta similar to the Mississippi Delta. Tropical forest and subtropical forests. Coastal swamps, bayous, and lagoons. And for the other three sauropods on Skull Island, well, Esperornis, let's start with that, had a narrow body, long-necked, armored, spikes, and it's a diplodocoid sauropod. So, they would stick in thicker woodland regions, and they are browsers of mid-level foliage that are out of reach for most terrestrial plant eaters of the jungle. With their narrow drafts, allows these giants to maneuver Diablosaurus. Yeah, despite its appearance, it's a sauropod. And it's not known what its ancestor or descendant is. Well, it's either dicrasaurid, short neck sauropods, or a titanosaur. Brontosaurus baxteri, and apatosaurine. Now, they would have competition of sauropods that are in Skull Island, like titanosaurs, brachiosaur, rebeccasaurids, and etc. And unlike unlike the sauropods, Brontosaurus baxteri gave birth to live young, 1 and 3 live young at the time. But with sauropods, they lay clutches of eggs. So, yeah. But Which of the three species on Skull Island would go extinct first? Espertorsis, Brontosaurus baxteri, or Diablosaurus? Which one will go extinct first? And that's it for the video, guys. Like and subscribe, and see ya.